And we're back to talk some band. Today we have with us Mr. Sam Long, former Marching Storm, former head drum major, band director. But what I love most about it is he did write Swamp. Sam, thank you for joining us.
Once again, thank you for having me.
All right. So the first question I definitely want to ask is, what was the inspiration behind writing Swamp? Like, what were you thinking?
Well, a lot of people don't know this, so this is gonna be the first time so a lot of people have heard it. A lot of the guys, we wanted to drive down to the Bayou Classic. That was fall of 1997, and they had a Battle of the Bands on their Friday night step show, and then the Battle of the Bands. So and being at Prairie View, we didn't travel a lot. We wanted to go and see whatever everybody else was doing. And so in the 90s, Prairie View didn't have a school song anthem or nothing like that to drive us. We only had like P-Funk, Tuba Line, things like that. So we was at the Battle of the Bands in the Superdome, and Southern band, they cranked up this bass line, and everybody just started singing. I was like, what are y'all saying? And they said swamp, and then they said the other word to it. A lot of people don't know it's another word to swamp.
Make them say,
and I said, what is that? Yeah. and so I remember that when I came back to the hill, back to PV, and I found the song. But before that, I wanted to write it was a famous song everybody was playing in the swag, was About It. And you listen to Swamp, the whole entire song, it's like a 5-minute song. At the very end, About It came in. I said, oh, there it is right there. I said, oh, man, I'm gonna go ahead and write this whole entire piece and see if Prof. Evans let us play it. But because back then, like Shaunetta know, we couldn't play rap music. He would not let us play rap music in the stands. We only did bass lines in the dance routine, or maybe for a drum major entrance. But that was it.
Yeah, I've never shared that. But yeah, Prof was about musicianship, and it needed to be a full song. And we know that rap songs are just not full songs.
Right. And so when I wrote it, you talking about a 5-minute song, and I had to write it. He kept saying, we need something in the stands that we can play without getting a penalty for the football team. And it was all about the football games. He was really surrounding himself around the football. Cut the band off when it was time to hike the ball, or if the ball was about being played. He was all about the band not being, the band needed to be silent. He said, so as we score, we need something that we can rock the stands until they kick the ball off and the other team receive. And I said, Prof, how long, what's the time frame on that? He said, I need something about 1 minute and 15 seconds. I said, okay. Went into the lab, we finally got this writing lab in Hobart.
Mm-hmm.
And we was all in there. I was writing it. It was me and another drum major by the name of Chris Williams.
Mm-hmm.
He was right there with me. He's like, man, you need to let Prof hear this, man. You need to get him to hear it. I said, man, I don't know, man. I'm nervous. I don't think he's gonna let us play it. We called him in there, let him hear it. He, I probably get here a grunt first. I don't know. And then all of a sudden he said, pass it out today. Man, we got excited, and we had to pass it out, print that music out, pass it out. And that was the first time the band hall, it was so, they use that word lit now, but we used to say crunk.
Yeah,
and it was
crunk, baby.
Yeah, we were crunk. And so at one point of the song, I said, y'all, right here, I just want everybody to just go crazy, just go wild. This is our first rap song, just go wild right here. And that's the that part right there.
Yeah.
But then Prof was very particular on things of every band member doing the same thing at the same time. And he cut us off. He said, what is our arms doing? you know, he made sure it was polished before we took it out that band room.
Yep.
And so the first time we played Swamp was the TSU and Prairie View basketball game, spring 1998.
Yeah.
And when we played it, it was electric in that baby doll.
Yeah.
It was electric.
Yeah, it's just instant. So what do you
And
think? I
just to
mean,
see
just
how
I was gonna ask you, it's just here we are 2022, you know.
yes.
25, almost 25 years later.
Damn.
Almost 25 years, yeah, and I would never thought that song would last this long. But I remember one time Prophet was told me, he said, if it ain't broke, I'm not trying to fix it.
Exactly.
And it's stuck. It is stuck, you know, because it was one of those songs where he saw it was arranged correctly. Because, you know, back then we had to arrange music on paper and pencil.
Mm-hmm.
It was before the laptops and all that type of stuff. So before we even got a piece of music passed out from a student, we probably had to write the song 3 or 4 times before he approved it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that wasn't my first song I wrote. It was a slow song, but that was the first song that actually just popped. And it's been history ever since, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the PD anthem.
Yeah. The thing is, we had made a chant with Swamp.
That's what I was about to ask.
And the chant.
Yeah.
Can we
And,
can
the
we
chant
get that
came
breakdown
from-
before you leave us today?
Yes.
'Cause
We
we need that on
actually
a
did the
t-shirt.
chant. It was I know it really does. The chant became we have a committee called the dance committee. And Ms. Heiskell, she knows about it because she was a drum major too, so she knows about the dance committee. And we were just acting silly, trying to come up with new ideas and stuff like that. And we put on a song by the Brat. I don't know if y'all remember the Brat back then in the 90s.
Of course.
She was pretty hot. And her song was called We Ready. And a lot of people don't know this, but we sampled the PV's chant from her hook in her song. So if you pull up the Brat, We Ready, probably about around 1 minute and 5 seconds, you'll hear it come in, and you'll be wow, this is crazy. You know, how did they make that? And we changed the words up, but it's the same rhythm, same harmony, all that, you know. And then when we say we ready for anybody. And I always wanted to say, why come the football team won't come out to Swamp? I've been saying this for about 15 years.
That's a hell of an idea. I'm gonna work on that.
Oh man, that is next level.
We gonna work on that, bro. That ain't a hard ask. I just think nobody ever suggested it directly to the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Correct.
So Sam, tell us the words. Tell us.
Yeah.
Hashtag class.
Yes. The words, PVU is the place to be. We ain't gonna never stop. We're the marching storm, and we're gonna keep this here on lock.
Here.
Do the best at what we do. Yeah, but you know, they be cussing too.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
why I said
that's-
beat. That's why I said beat.
Oh, here's what they say.
Okay. I was about to ask how y'all got that past prep. Okay.
Yeah, you know, the word here, they use another word to substitute here on lock.
Yeah.
Do the best at what we do. Keep playing, making all the moves. And if anybody wants some, we ready. We ready.
Got it.
I love it.
Okay.
And
That we ready
and then when we came,
is about like Master P.
Yeah.
When you hear that
Yeah.
we ready, you like, man, you want something
Yeah.
explosive to happen right after that.
In the stands, you ready. When the Swamp is played at any football, basketball game, as a fan, you are ready for some top level foolishness.
Yes.
It is the
Yes.
classic.
It is. It's that song and something else that we played, and I hate the band doesn't play it anymore. I wish I knew the name. I don't know if you wrote it, because I remember asking Sleep one day, like, what is the name of this song? And I was humming. He's like, you can talk to Sam. You can talk to Sam about that. But I'm a jump over to the show March. Okay.
Okay.
You and I marched the same time. So just imagine if we had this platform. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm not salty, but just a little bit, right? Like just a tad.
Yeah.
But so what do you think? Give me your thoughts on the show.
Well, I'm the same way with you because a lot of the current stuff that's happening now wouldn't be in place if it wasn't for us to pay that way. So I am appreciative and happy to see that they got the opportunity to be on to CW. You know, that's basically a white platform television station. You know, and Prairie View is the first band. We're not even talking about HBCU. We just talking about, let's say, band culture. The first band to ever be showcased like that on public television. So that is definitely the march. I think it's not just about the band. I think it's also about the entire university. Because you start saying things that, man, I ain't know Prairie View was located right here. Oh, I didn't know their football team was this good. Oh, I didn't know they had this. I mean, it was a lot of components that came with that show. And I think it was a good moral respect to the university and to also showcase, hey, the band is a big integral part of bringing people to the university as a recruitment tool.
Right.
And so, but one thing I did like, I learned from the show was it's reality. It's like anywhere else. You have your problems, it's like anybody else. We are human. We do work hard. And the thing is, it showed that we have a lot of pride at Prairie View A&M University. And they just showcase it throughout the band, you know.
Yes, definitely. And one last question that I have, just going to ask you, what do you think Prof would think about the band?
In its current state?
In its current state.
I think the first thing would be like, man, why come I couldn't get all this when I was here? I think that would be the first thing. You know, I know, I know some things, like budget cuts, but at one point in time, they did have a budget. And that's one thing Prof was always fought for, a budget. We couldn't even move the band. And we was probably twice as small as they are now. Maybe what, 250, 200. Now we're looking at 400 some kids. I think that's the one thing he'd be like, man, if I would have had the funding now they got now, we'd be all over the place.
Exactly.
But just the thing, the platforms he did, the things he did, like when we marched in the inauguration parade, that was my last performance. He had to come back and perform for that. Everybody has a significant moment during a time in the film. So you hear different stories. So that was his story. He did the Rose Bowl parade first.
Right.
He did the inauguration parade first. So I think he'd say, man, continue the success, continue to keep Prairie View A&M University, Marching Storm, the whole thing on a high level. Yeah,
definitely. I did see the last episode of March. I thought it was pretty good. The one thing that I thought, so the category 6, they were talking to Doc, and he made the comment about, they'll all have to try it again next year. And I'm thinking, I wish Prof would have asked me to try out once I'd already made it. So
I found that interesting too.
That was very interesting.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Old school ways, once you make drum major, you are drum major until you graduate.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, Elton was drum major, didn't come back he was like sat out a year and came back to school and was drum major. So it's like, you know,
Yeah, he didn't lose his position.
yeah, you didn't lose a position. So I just thought that was interesting. But I think overall, I thought even to touch on what you said, one thing that I liked and I hope people took away with it, you notice the black box, the captain of the black box as she graduated, and her parents said, as soon as she said she was interested in architecture, she was only going to go to Prairie View. So I'm hoping just that statement alone, you know, should
Yes.
anyone else who wants to be an architecture probably like, we know what, let me think about that, because we talk about engineering, we talk about the band, we talk about nursing, but I don't think a lot of people know PV has a #1 program as far as
Okay.
HBCUs, as far as Black architects, I should say. So again, I think a lot of good
Right.
came from the show. Very glad that they had an opportunity to do that. Glad that you were able to join us today. I didn't say, listeners probably don't know that you were once the band director at the Jack Yates. But what are you doing
Yes, I
now?
What?
Yeah. I was at Jack Gates for 2 years. That was 2010 and 2012. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm working on my master's. Some that I always prophet always been back in my head, like, hey man, you need, if you want to get on the college level, you gotta get the other piece of paper, you know. And then you see a lot of opportunities pass you up. So you be like, man, let me go on and step back, let me go on and do what I need to do. So I'm working on I'm in my second year working on my master's of music, scoring and composition. So I'm going strictly for arranging. And it's crazy because you know, you got me on the show and we're talking about Swamp, what made me arrange that. And now 20 years later, I'm in school, learning even more.
Arrangement.
And the school is Academy of Art University in San Francisco, California. And I'm learning more about arranging, not just for marching band, but also film, commercials, movies. I mean, all that type of stuff. So it's more in depth.
Yeah. And when you saying that, so my last comment is going to be, I've always wondered when Prof. Edwards passed away, what would have happened had you, Dwight, or Mark had your masters at the time? Like everyone worked on it afterwards, but I always wonder, I know, what could have happened. So with that, again, thanks, Sam. Glad to have you. Thank you for coming on the show. I know we talked about it probably like a year ago, but glad to have you.
We've been waiting to get you on.
Yes.
Thank you for giving us an intro.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for allowing us to steal that intro.
Yep. Hey, go handle that paperwork. We ain't gonna talk about what it is, but go handle that.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, get that thing copywritten. All right, and with that, we'll be back with some We Ready shout outs.